Hey you guys, HappyCattyCrypto here and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, drop a comment. If you're already here all of the time, do the same exact thing. Hit the notifications bell to stay informed. So before I dive into this, look, if you're not staking with a validator like myself, consider it. There's links to it in the description. Every little bit helps get us more voting power, which can have more say and more sway. We don't have double node or anything like that. We're not part of that ball game, so to speak, but more or less we're playing it by the book. So we'd appreciate if you're not delegating with us, consider delegating with us. So as I've been talking about recently, the LUNC community is going to start to tear itself apart. They don't see it yet, but from the looking glass externally, it's beginning to happen. The fractures, the factions, the dissections, and more or less the squabbling, the quarreling, it's all going to get very heated. But this is interesting because I actually DM'd Ray Raspberry and I asked him if he'd like to come on for a podcast, kind of go over the documents and everything he's kind of already gone over recently in public, and everything we would have gone over would have been public information. And he was being polite, I guess, and he was like, look, I don't really want to take a side on this thing. And then I wake up today to see that Chris Armani has basically written a tweet, and what this has shown me is TFL don't bite, and they're very good at not biting. This has got them biting, and what Ray Raspberry is mentioning is why they actually asked for 150 million Luna community grant without disclosure that they were borrowing to what is now a 450 million in-debt subsidiary company, Terraform Labs, which was dissolved in July 2023. So he's got genuine questions, and then basically Chris is just mocking him, saying, damn, he finally caught us. It's true. TFL transfers assets between entities and records and appropriate, he's taking the mick. And this is good news for us. This is really, really good news for us, because ultimately I've spoken about this for a very, very long time. And I said we would eventually reach this point. And as a blockchain, all we can do is kind of like better the ecosystem around us currently, because you can't force them to come back. All you can do is provide a decent environment, which would kind of want to make them come back. And double noding, network noding, and decentralization, it's not a good start. The fact that the active set's only 100 validators is not good. So we need to get a proposal for that back up. And it's interesting to say the least. So the main bulk of this video, because I always like to give you a little kind of like update as to what's going on and the kind of sentiment and the mood. So let's take a look at proposal 12102, the ultimate repeg plan, a community driven repegging proposal. Yes, another repeg proposal. Now, what I'm starting to understand, and I think what everybody else needs to understand, is running a stable coin is pretty serious in the crypto sector. A lot has changed since Luna crashed, right? You need serious regulation when it comes down to stable coins, and we're a community-led coin that are more or less going to a restaurant and asking for an eggless omelette. Like, that is a lot of the times how backward things are here. And I think people, you're not kidding yourself, but maybe you just don't understand how serious it is to actually run and hold a stable coin and be the owner behind it. And it, like, we don't have a legal body on this blockchain. We have no head of someone who can actually take the legal binding of this. But anyway, let's take a look at this, because there's a bit of an outrage about this, which is quite interesting, because all the validators are talking about this, but they're not voting on the proposal for double and network validating on the Terra Classic blockchain. So it's really interesting to see them bickering about this and saying, oh no, you can't do this and you can't do that. So I'm not going to bore you with all of the ChatGPT nonsense here. What I'm going to do is kind of crush it down. So the objective is to establish a resilient and community-driven mechanism aimed at incrementally restoring and preserving the stability of the USTC peg. So the concept is to maintain the peg. The chain must be capable of absorbing surplus USTC and release them when demand arises. LUNC being a community-owned chain, the responsibility of defending the peg should belong to the community. If we want to truly claim community ownership in this sense, this proposal seeks to entrust this task to the community, making it the guardian of the peg. The proposal empowers community members to defend the peg by leveraging staking rewards, incentivizing their participation, and offering them profit opportunities. So the proposed mechanism, stakers are required to lock a specific amount of USTC alongside their LUNC delegations to fully earn staking rewards. For instance, 1 USTC each for 10,000 LUNC. So when the price of USTC falls below the peg, stakers must lock additional USTC to maintain eligibility for full staking rewards. This encourages stakers to purchase USTC at a discounted rate, exerting upward pressure on USTC and driving it back towards the peg. As the price of USTC returns to peg, stakers are no longer required to maintain the additional USTC balance to earn rewards, allowing them to freely sell those extra USTC at a profit. So the technical outline, the community sets an initial peg price through governance, blah, 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 which would be, for example, 0.2, and incrementally increases it over time. Based on market conditions and community strength, no lockup durations of restrictions on USTC, stakers can lock and unlock USTC at any time. USTC locking ratio is dynamically adjusted based on the Oracle price of USTC, requiring an algorithm for adjustment. Stakers continue earning partial rewards even if lock USTC falls below the required ratio. The mechanism will be governed by parameters, which can be easily adjusted through community governance. It will be purposefully initiated with low pressure, letting the community adjust the pressure according to its preference. So these notes don't really make sense to me. The benefits, I don't see any. I'll leave a link to this. No doubt you guys have read through this, but what I wanted to give you an idea is what they're saying of doing. This is a horrible idea from my perspective. If you can achieve repeg and you can actually get this thing done, my hat's off to you, I'll support it. But this is like the pinnacle of messing with the chain, so to speak. Because then you're driving staking and it's all based on how much USTC you lock up, which is actually absolutely ridiculous to say the least. There's already a surplus of USTC sat in the Oracle rewards pool that would simply just kill any repeg attempts moving forward. So before you start any repeg attempts, you've really got to stem that. And the only way to stem it is to get rid of it, which means burn all of the Oracle pool USTC, and then there'll be no more USTC rewards. They would only be LUNC distribution. So this dynamic ratio to be adjusted based on the Oracle price of USD, requiring an algorithm for adjustment. There would be so many issues with an algorithm that was designed in a decentralized environment. So the more hands you'd have in this thing, the more dangers you would bring forward of people having backdoors, spider doors, knowing how to beat the algorithm, so to speak, or exploit it. It's a dangerous ball game. We already saw what happened previously. So this in itself doesn't have a Commonwealth or anything like that. But because of the fact it's up there, you're all interested in USTC repegs. This is a very poor attempt, I think, to drive some kind of bullish sentiment maybe. People are probably trying to think of ways where they can get people kind of like hyped up with very little effort, so to speak. So there's a PDF document with this, which is even more crazy because I couldn't find a Commonwealth. Maybe it's on the other Commonwealth, maybe it's somewhere else, but I just couldn't find it. So the USTC repeg really is such a huge issue, like a huge issue. And one of the bigger issues with this USTC repeg alongside the Oracle rewards pool surplus would be all of the stable coins on chain currently. Around 8 to 9 months ago, maybe 10 months ago, there was an exploit opened between USTC and KRTC. And we had to change a certain parameter to 0% to stop that from happening. Right? And that was just a very, very small exploit. And they did get some money out of the chain, so to speak, from doing this exploit. So we need to be very careful when it comes to introducing any kind of algorithm, any type of an attempt to repeg USTC by anything would only be dumped on by the people who hold from the Oracle rewards pool. And it's substantial what some validators get, and it's substantial what some holders get. So once again, like, I think if someone is being dead serious about a USTC repeg, I believe it should start there. And you should do this thing step by step and prepare people for it along the way. Like I said, halt the USTC coming from the Oracle rewards pool. Step one, you've moved an inch. Let things settle a little bit, let people get used to it, and then move to the next step, like I've explained. This is all interesting stuff. Like I said, it's it's no small feat nor small task to repeg a stable coin, let alone an algorithmic stable coin. And it just seems like utter chaos when there's so many more things we could do as a blockchain to kind of make the system. For example, like if you introduce tax to gas, White Whale would come over, especially with what's going on with Luna. And then Backbone Labs would also come over as well, because they're all waiting for the tax to gas system to be corrected, so to speak. So let me know what you think about this ultimate repeg plan. Let me know what you think about what I've said and discussed in this video. If there's anything you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments section. And other than that, guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.